Hey guys, it's Julie from Plan to Create, and I am abandoning any intros today and jumping right into this project because I apparently filmed this last October, November, maybe even December, and partially edited it and then abandoned it over the holidays apparently. So I just discovered it and I thought, I'll just share it. I know it's not current, but it definitely walks you through the process of how I work in this creative journal. And so I'm going to kind of catch you up to speed here. You're going to see those large pieces of paper, and those are from the T-In kit from Studio Calico, so the Traveler's Notebook. I just took the Traveler's Notebook paper, I cut it up and kind of used it as a backdrop. This is a great trick, like if you feel like you don't have a lot of photos or a lot of stories in your week, it takes some extra space and kind of takes a little of the pressure off. So that's kind of what I've been up to here. And then you can see I've placed the photos, and now I am just going through the process of committing them. I have shared previously that I do use Avery sticker paper. It's basically label paper, and that's how I print my photos, and that's fine with me. I don't proclaim it is a high quality, but it's just the right quality for me. It gets the job done, and it keeps it really simple. I like the thinness of this versus using a photo paper. If you've ever subscribed to a kit, you know that supplies can add up really quickly. And so that's been part of the purpose of this creative journal, is that when I receive my kits for the month, I try to use those throughout the month. So you're seeing bits and pieces here from the Studio Calico October 2022 kit, and I'm just kind of letting that guide my color choices, my supplies. I definitely mix in some older items from my stash, but I really am purposeful about using as many of these items as I can. It helps me justify subscribing, and it kind of keeps me using the supplies. Okay, I'm going to bring out this little alpha stamp periodically on this spread. It is the Savannah Alpha from Carrie Bradford Studio. It's one of my favorites. And you see there that I took every letter one at a time and inked them. And then you can see here that I actually ink them all together at one time. In this particular set, she includes multiples of certain letters, like your most common vowels and consonants, and so it makes it really slick. See, I can stamp all of it at once. I just load them all onto my acrylic block and then ink and stamp. Just when I thought my diaper days were over, you're going to see here my wiping my stamp off with baby wipes. I bought a huge box at Costco. Those are my favorite, and it really feels weird to be like 48 and buying baby wipes, but anyway. Okay, don't judge me. I know that the sticker is pretty easy to peel off. I don't need tweezers on this, but I like to use tweezers because I get to hover it over the area that I think I want to place it. So you can see I just kind of take some time and like try it here, try it there. I think ultimately, I don't know if I really actually thought this, but you can see the pink over on the other page. And I feel like if I had it on the same plane as that, it just was too much. So then see, I drop it down, kind of help balance that out. I'm going to hope that that's what I was thinking. At least that's how it kind of works out now when I look back at it. You can see that the tiny bit of that N was not included when I stamped it on the label, so I'm going to come back with that little N and just do a little fixer. This is always risky. It's kind of like, oh, is it worth it? Is it going to make a big smudge or ruin it? But here I just go ahead and it turns out fine, so I'm happy that it worked out. I am repeating that same alpha over and over throughout my page. I do find that that looks nice. Unless I want something to really stand out, this kind of just helps give me some of those keywords. It's familiar, so my eye can kind of travel to the big keywords, and they're all in the same font. Here I'm just writing down Handel's homemade ice cream. I kind of zoom in on it for you. And it's so funny, like I'm really bad about spacing, so you can see I kind of start out spreading my letters out, and then ice cream gets a little squished in there. But we make it, I think. Ooh. Next up, I'm looking for ways that I can incorporate the monthly stamp kit stamp into this page as well. So I like some of these little kind of lines with words. It's going to kind of direct, like this photo belongs to this box. So I'm just looking for a way to combine those two things. And I do it in black ink. Easy peasy. I am a strong believer of throwing your handwriting on your pages. I'm not a huge fan of my handwriting. I recognize like a lot of people think it's neat. I taught 3rd grade, so I should have decent penmanship. I had to teach kids how to do it. But yeah, I definitely love to include my own handwriting, pretty much because I'm too lazy to try to type it out and take the time to make it look really great. I'm just, like, let's get it done. So here I'm going to take another stamp from Carrie Bradford Studio, and I'm just going to repeat. This is a really great way to kind of fill some awkward space there between my photos, and I just wanted to note down that there was a big game this weekend. My son-in-law is a Tennessee grad student studying nuclear engineering, I think. Nuclear physics, one of those crazy degrees. Anyway, he was at the game. It was really exciting. They beat Alabama. It was a big deal. So I felt like that was something that I wanted to include here on my pages. Here's a slow-mo yet quick peek at the set that I got that football season stamp from. And then below it, it says, "Bring on the layers." Oh my gosh, I love layers. I love fall time. And I live in Arizona where it's so hot all the time. It doesn't make sense. I often shop at a store called Evereve, and they have kind of a box situation like Stick Fix. It's called Trendsend, and these are the items that were sent to me this month. Okay, moving on. You can see that I have taken the alpha stickers and I have actually used my stamp storage, like plastic sleeve, just to stick them on the edge there so I can kind of do this little hover trick. I'm a big fan of hovering. I don't know if you guys have picked up on that. I hover things with my tweezers. I usually take my stamps and hover them over the area that I want to stamp. And so I'm doing the same thing here with stickers, and I quickly realized that they are not going to fit quite the way I wanted, all the way across, but I can make it work. The handyman I'm referring to here is actually my husband, and I'm just taking a little space here to give him some props. You can see that little photo directly above my page. It's awkward, and I do not end up using it because it just doesn't really look great. But they're drawer pulls that I have on my kitchen island turned craft desk, and I just wanted to add those, so I kind of helped him measure, but I have zero confidence in like drills, nails, measuring, leveling, and so while I was a little scared, I just wanted to give him props and say, hey, it turned out perfect and I'm really happy with the results. Next up, I'm just kind of zooming through some different sections of journaling. You can see that I turn my pages periodically. I don't have a hard rule on that, but if I feel like I've been writing a lot all the same direction, I do like to flip it up just to give it a little bit of variety and keep things kind of imperfect, I guess you could say. That's ultimately my goal here. I don't want this to be a super well-designed page. I just want it to look nice to me and be something that I enjoy looking back on and kind of let it be a little bit artsy-fartsy. Of course, like not having a strong rhyme or reason for any of this page, I run into little spots where I'm like, okay, now what? You can kind of see that down here. I have that blank space on the bottom of the right page. So I decided I'm going to come through with this little set. This is, I feel like, a mix and match grid set from Studio Calico. It's one of my favorites. It's just kind of some simple shapes. And while this doesn't like exactly fill that space, I just thought it kind of helped bring a little border and attention to that area. And this is kind of that desperate stage where I start to glance through my supplies and like, what have I not used? What colors would I like to see repeated? So you see I want to repeat that color, I think. And so I look for something that fills that space well. It's really just kind of down to the puzzle pieces at this point. Like what can fit, what will work. You can see I'm testing out a couple different ideas there. And I'm not going to lie, as I'm watching this back, I'm like, no, put it back down. I liked it overlapping the blue paper. Dang it. Kind of funny. I don't know. Again, I can't tell you what exactly was going through my head at that point, but interesting choice there. This is a good time to mention that I'm using the Hemlock and Oak weekly planner, and I love it. I use it for my creative journal, and they do include a week number at the bottom left, but you can see I actually covered mine with that blue paper, and I also just really like coming through and making my week number a little bit bolder, so that's what I've done there with a generously sized stamp from Carrie Bradford's studio. I believe that's her max outline, and then I'm coming through here thinking, I suspect that I'm trying to balance out that dark black Bianco pizza, so maybe that's why I'm adding this here. Again, this is probably not my favorite design choice, but yeah, not a lot I can do about it right now. I come through and write down week using my white Jelly Roll pen, and these are always like better in my mind. It always is going to look really crisp and clear, and I feel like it's never quite as easy as I want it to be, but I tried. I think I went over it a couple of times to just kind of keep trying to get that white ink to really show up against the black background. I must have previously been playing with white ink on these same little black label stickers. So this little one has a stamp that says taking a break, and I'm working that one in here. You'll notice I have that tiny bit of space kind of in that white box rectangle. So this is a really good little filler, and I think that it helps balance out the three big bold black elements better. When I first added that week, I was like, ooh, but now I can see it's coming together. I got you. Okay, so while we all see the elephant in the room there, the big blank white spot at the bottom of the right-hand page, I'm just going to ignore it. I like to procrastinate, and clearly you can see that here. So I pull out these beautiful stickers. They are transparent floral designs from Lightly Inked. She's one of my favorite planner sticker shops, and of course, a lot of these can transfer between Creative Journal and Planner. So I throw a few of these beauties down to kind of just fill in some of the blank spaces, and basically, I just don't know what I want to put in that bottom spot, so I'm probably just using this as a means of procrastination. Let's be real. So on these last stages of my pages, I'm basically like, okay, I don't have any other photographs that I want to use. Check. I have worked in a lot of the supplies from my kit. Check. So now I'm kind of digging through my stash and through my planner or my calendars just to see like what else was I doing that week? What else would I want to mention? So I pull out these simple gray labels from my stash. They work in perfectly. They're super neutral. And I decide that I'm going to just mention that we had gotten together with my extended family a couple of times this week. That's a pretty big deal. We haven't really lived by family ever before in our lives, so it's kind of nice when we're able to connect with them. So a simple stamp says family, and I add in a cute little line, which I love to just incorporate to kind of break out sections. And I tell the story of that and wrap up my week. You guys, thanks for joining me. This was kind of spur of the moment for me to throw this out there, but I appreciate you being here, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks. Okay, hold on. While I was editing this video, I saw what I had written down for that little photo of Brady. And do you guys ever like give your pets a voice? Like you decide what they're saying? Well, my husband always jokes because our cat loves to climb up on this wall and just sit there. And his voice for Brady is like, "You want me on this wall. You need me on this wall." Please tell me we're not the only ones who do that.